Hey guys, this is a requested video. I know it's not what I usually do, but realise that. A girl called Andley11, I don't know her real name, that's her YouTube name, requested a video on my tattoos and my piercings. She just had her first tattoo a few days before and she's realised they're addictive, which they are. So yeah, it's going to be quite a long video because I have quite a few to get through. I'm going to start with some basic things, like if you're thinking about getting one done, first of all, do think about it. If they're tattoos or piercings, admittedly piercings you can take out, but they are a responsibility that you do have to take care of to make sure that all goes okay. It's not just you go in, the other person takes responsibility for it, does it, and it's fine, and you're out. You have to keep it clean, and you have to keep it, clean, not tug that and stuff. So, first things first. In the UK, which is where I live, there isn't like a registration, like a mandatory legal registration thing for piercists. Anybody can set up and be a piercist or a tattooist. So that's a bit annoying. On the other hand, there are a couple of associations that do training things, or at least one, the PPA, the Professional Piercers Association, and a number of like city councils do like hygiene checks and will register some studios as passing those. So it's a good thing to check to see if your local council has any that they've registered as being particularly clean, because that's always nice to know. So yeah, there is no great register of these are the great people, everybody's good. You kind of have to look around, and that's the other thing, look around. Ask everybody's opinion. If you go in somewhere and for some reason you don't feel comfortable, don't go there. Even if it's something really stupid, if you're not comfortable with it, it's not a good thing. If it looks really dark and dingy and you think, I can't see if it's clean because there's no bright lights, it's probably not a good thing, because if there's no bright lights, they're probably not going to get it in the right place either. So, now that we've done the boring bits, go on to the less boring bits. Piercings. I got my ears pierced the first time since I was 10, and I've just been building on it since then. So I'm going to start with my ears, and I'm going to start with my left ear. Yeah, my ears will match, so I'll start with one ear. Okay, we were going this way. Okay, so I got my lobes done. I got a matching pair when I was 10. They're now stretched, I've got wee tunnels in them. These are only 4 mils, I'm not going bigger, I think they're cute. It's very important if you're stretching your ears to take it slowly. Build it up a little bit at a time. Don't expect to go overnight into 4 mil, 6 mil, 8 mil, whatever. Take your time. If you don't, you'll get a blowout. If you don't know what that is, Google image search it. But it's basically when part of your ear just decides it had enough of being pushed like that and starts to look like a cat's backside. The skin literally goes like all pursed out and it looks bogging. You don't want one. So take it slowly, it's worth it. So the first two I had done in my lobes, I just got done in hairdressers and they were with a gun. I'm not particularly against the gun, but to be fair, I do prefer getting it done with a needle now, even though I'm not a big fan of needles and never have been. When I got these second ones done, the stupid hairdresser lady that was doing it convinced me that it would be really pretty to get a smaller stud up here than the one down there, but then the stud she put in was so small that the actual earring bit was almost the same size as the post, and I woke up every morning with it back inside my ear. So don't believe someone if they tell you that. It may be pretty, but it's not good. So yeah, so and there's another one there, but I don't have an earring in it just now. I just done that myself, which is very naughty. But I have a couple of piercings I've done myself. So this up here is my scaffolding piercing. It gets a fair bit of attention. This is one I'm going to talk a fair bit about. I wanted this for years before I got it done. There's a couple of studios around about Glasgow and other places in Scotland, and I have seen so many different ways and heard so many different ways of people getting their scaffolding pierced. But I am a fan of the way I got mine pierced for many reasons. So the way I got mine done was quite simply to put one needle all the way through and then put one bar all the way through. Why wouldn't you do that? There's so many studios around about that I've heard of people where they do it with 2 separate needles. I'm going to zoom out and talk for a while. They've done it with 2 separate needles. Now if you're doing it with 2 separate needles, how do you know it's going to line up? Okay, so then when you put the big bar through it, part of your ear is on a strain, and that's how stuff rejects. That's when piercings kind of grow out on their own. I've also heard places that have done it with 2 separate needles and then put 2 separate pieces of jewellery in. So even if it wasn't on a straight line, or even if it was on a straight line to begin with the way you sleep with the 2 separate bits of jewellery in different weights, it could end up not on a straight line by the time you come around to trying to put one big piece of jewellery in it. So I don't like it. And even worse, I've seen it when they've done it with 2 separate bits of jewellery that have been hooped, so that then your 2 holes, which may or may not have been lined up with each other in the first place are then curved in a completely different direction, and then you try and put one big straight piece of jewellery through it, which is going to put your ear under strain. What's the point? I also found somebody whose piercist had told him that if you pierce this bit at this angle it would shatter your ear. So his is pierced at a straight angle and his bar has been bent like a hockey stick. Now I suspect that his piercist done it wrong and realised this. So yeah, so that's my thoughts on the scaffolding or industrial, and I love it. And my battery's flashing, so I'll be back in a second. Okay, so after the scaffolding, oops, I keep going the wrong way. I also have this. This is a rook piercing. I will tell you that this is a genuine pain in the backside. Just because of where it is, if it ever comes undone or if I want to take it out, it's really awkward to refasten it. I literally need to take the scaffolding out and fold my ear back so that I can get into this ball here to fasten it. So it's kind of irritating. But it is pretty, and it is a good piercing to have, I think, because it is cartilage, so it hurts a little bit more. But because it's tucked in out the way, it's not likely to get caught on anything. If you sleep on it, it doesn't catch as much and things. So from that point of view, it's quite good if you know you're somebody who's got quite a rough lifestyle, maybe. It's tucked out the way, so that's fine. This one is the anti-tragus piercing. I used to think it was a rook. No, I used to think it was a dace, but that's this bit up here. I like this one. It's cute. It's easy to fasten. It's through a bit of cartilage, and mainly tucked out the way, it doesn't get caught that much either. So yeah, that's that ear. So now my other ear. I'm going to start with these three actually. This one I got done when I was 15 and it got done with a gun. As I said, I prefer needle piercings, but some people have told me no, you can't do cartilage piercings with a gun, it'll shatter your cartilage. Well, yeah, mine's still in one piece, so whatever. So yeah, cartilage piercings hurt a bit more than lobe piercings just because it's hard. Cartilage is this squidgy stuff that you've got in your ear and like in your nose. It's not as hard as bone, but it still holds like a shape. As you can see, I'm going to zoom in, so I'm just lazy. Again, just a 4mm piercing. Two little lobe piercings again. This is one I done myself, very naughty. And I done this one myself as well. So, tragus piercing, everybody knows about that, it's easy. I wanted mine done for a long time. As you can see, my tragus is quite small. My piercist was worried it would just reject, but after a while I decided, you know what, I've wanted this for years, so let's just go for it. If it rejects, that's it. So this piercing I want to talk about as well. This is my orbital piercing. I never got it, I always wanted an orbital piercing, but I never got it pierced as one, if that makes sense. I had the lobe piercing and then I got this inside bit pierced. This is called the conch. It's quite a nice piercing on its own because when you look in, all you see is like a little silver ball or whatever you've got on it sitting here. Again, it's a piercing that's out of the way. If anybody's wondering, I'm not sure I'll be able to show this. It'll be hard for me to tell. It goes through the back. It's so hard for me to tell if I'm still on camera. I'm going to hope that showed. It just loops right in one go. About the conch piercing. If you've had cartilage piercings before, you'll know that they crunch because it's harder. It's a charming thought, but you'll know that when you get pierced, you kind of like, you brace yourself, and you hear the crunch, and then you kind of go, ah, because it's over. Well, when I get my conch pierced, I braced myself, crunched, ah, and then it crunched again, and I was still kind of going, because I thought it was over. When it crunched a third time, I hadn't thought through the fact that because this kind of like faces onto the back of your head, they can't just ram it through in one go in case they hit your head, because that wouldn't be good to have the needle embedded at the other side. So they have to do it a bit at a time to make sure they don't stab you in the head. So yeah, so then after I'd had it done, after the conch had healed up quite nicely, I got it switched into my orbital, which is very nice and lovely, and it's kind of annoying for getting caught. It's mainly hairdressers that catch it. I know it's there, but if you do get some ear piercings, make sure you tell your hairdresser or they'll get caught and it's not fun. So next we'll go on to the face. You've all probably noticed I have a nose pierce. I occasionally forget it when I'm doing videos, but anyway. I will say it was quite sore. It wasn't the piercing itself that's sore, but it's the jewellery is always kind of this shape. So yeah, you see it's kind of hooked on the end. that holds it in place, which is fine, you know, but it's the fact that you get it pierced, it's a fresh piercing. Any kind of piercing is basically an injury, a wound, so your body's reaction is to swell. So then you've got a swollen, small, straight hole and you're trying to push a hook through it, and the more you push, the more it swells, which means the more you need to push, and it's kind of a vicious circle. So you want them to get it in as quickly as possible, or else it's just going to get more and more annoying and painful. So, lip piercings. I started off with a normal lip piercing, that little tiny dot there. I done it myself, again, not a good idea. I didn't get it straight, so when I wore a labret, which is the studs that you wear in a lip piercing, I can show you one, I think. Yeah. So, back to old VC. Yeah, it's got like this flat disc at the back. That's what can hold it in place. This one's got a spike on the front. But because I hadn't got it straight, the plate at the back's at an angle, and it scraped off my teeth and my gums, and it got sore and things. It was okay with a hoop in it, but studs not so good. So that all healed up, and now I have a vertical lip piercing, which my friend Danny done for me. She's training to be a piercist. She's brilliant, love her. So as you can see, it goes in under the lip and out the top. It was kind of sore, mainly because your lips are kind of sensitive. They've got, it's like thinner skin, and they've got more nerves, I think, than other bits of your body, which is why kissing's fun. Yeah, so a needle going out through that sensitive skin was quite sore. The bottom bit was fine, it was the top bit was kind of ugh. So this is like a curved barbell that's in that. I got it because of the way it looks and I like it, but there's kind of an advantage over the traditional lip piercing because none of this is in contact with your teeth, because it goes in and out without going in your mouth at all. So that can be an advantage if you're worried about your teeth. I got my tongue done. I've had it done since I was 16. You may or may not know that some people can't get their tongue pierced. The veins in your tongue, you either have two forked veins, one goes either side, or one that goes right up the middle. If you have one that goes right up the middle, it's not a great idea for you to get it pierced. Depending on the size of it and the rest of the kind of makeup of your mouth, you can get it on an angle, so it'll be off-centre in the bottom but centred in the top. But, you know, it all depends. So I have the two veins there, so I had no problems with mine. With this and tongue piercing and nose piercing, they put in a slightly bigger bit of jewellery to allow for swelling, and then switch it to a normal one. I think the same with my scaffolding. I remember I had quite a big bar in that to begin with. Yeah, so most piercings clean them with saline solution. I clean mine with Savon, but a lot of people don't like that because it can be a little bit harsh for you, but my body seems to cope with it. But saline solution's easy, everybody's got sea salt in their house. For your tongue, I use mouthwash, but make sure it's non-alcohol. It's like alcohol-free mouthwash, so not Listerine. Listerine is the devil. It's too strong. It will literally strip away any healing that's taken place, which is really not helpful. So I also have my belly button pierced. Oh, I don't know how I'm going to manage this on camera. Oops. Right. I used to have 4. I don't know whether it's going to show up that I have quite bad scar tissue now. From where the other ones used to be. Ooh. I'm going to sit down before I fall down. They rejected. I got them redone. They rejected again, which is why the scar tissue is so bad. I'm considering getting them done a 3rd time, but it was quite painful re-piercing for scar tissue, so that's kind of put me off. Again, I just cleaned mine with Savon / saline solution. Belly button piercings are fine. They just clamp it, put it through, same size bit of jewellery, your stomach doesn't swell that much, and you know, that's it, the curved barbell. So I also have a nipple pierced, but that's not coming out on camera. It's not as painful as you would think it would be, but it is not a great one for healing. A lot of people have problems with it, so that's that. So I'm also going to talk about my microdermals. That is these things in my chest. I had these done before, and they rejected, but I got them done again yesterday. So this is quite a good illustration that you can see just how little upset there is to the skin, and I bruise really easily. Like, I've still got a fencing bruise from last week, and that's how little these have bruised up. So these are done with a dermal punch. It's kind of like a really small cookie cutter on a handle, and pops a wee hole in your skin, and then they slot in the jewellery. I have a bit of jewellery from the last time I had mine done, so the camera's so not going to show this because it's being a pain in the backside. Okay, so as you can see, it's this little metal plate. This is what's under my skin. It's got little holes in it that allows your flesh to kind of like adapt to it rather than just pushing it out like it would if it was solid. I can do this without dropping it. As you can see, it's longer on one end than on the other. So the long end gets slotted into the wee hole first, and then the short end gets tucked under. These ones have little sparkly stones on them, but my new ones don't. Yeah. So I'll just be keeping those clean with saline solution for 8 weeks, and hopefully they will stay in this time. I like them. I do have scars from the last time. That little right there, that's a scar from last time when it rejected, but obviously it pulled a bit before it rejected, which was annoying because it caught on my seatbelt a couple of times. So that's my piercings. Next we have my tattoos. This is really a really long video, I apologise. So let's go in order, chronological order. I didn't do it with my piercings because that's too much hassle. My first tattoo was this on my shoulder. As you can see, I have a lovely spotty back. I got that when I was 19, but I'd been planning it since I was 16, so I quite thoroughly knew that I wanted that tattoo in that place in my body, and I wasn't going to regret it. A lot of people ask me, is it tribal inspired, is it a dragon, is it Celtic inspired? It's like, no, it's inspired by Shakespeare. And they go, what? Basically I got bored in English in school and I designed it in my homework diary, and I was supposed to be studying Shakespeare at the time, so it's inspired by Shakespeare. So yeah. Next after that I got Hope on my wrist, which is kind of what started this video because it's the one that's like evident in my videos. This is about as close down to your wrist as you really want your tattoos to go, just because the way your wrist bends, anything higher than that is going to be a nightmare for healing. If you've never had a tattoo, it starts to scab over when it heals, and if you scratch at the scab or if you pick at the scab, then it will kind of like crack up the ink somehow. I don't quite know how it works, but you need to leave the scab alone. If you break the scab, you end up with funny marks on your tattoo. I wash my tattoos twice a day just with warm water and an extra time if they need it, and then cover it in the cream stuff that I use, which is this stuff, Tattoo Aftercare. I buy it specially. It's kind of herbally. It looks a lot like Vaseline though, but it has a really strong herbally smell. So, but it works really well for me, and it's 100% natural, which you probably can't read. So anyway, after that I got an angel on the bottom of my back, which is again going to be a bit difficult to show. I don't know whether... Way, I'm almost tall enough. She's just got her face in her hand. Apparently I'm a bit of a freak of nature where my pain threshold is for tattoos. When my piercer switched to the shading needle for that tattoo, I started to giggle. It's a problem because obviously you're shaking about a bit and they're trying to draw on you, so not good. If anybody's wondering about the pain aspect of things, like I said, I've got a high pain threshold, so I really don't want to give you a verdict. What I will do is give you the basic information of it varies from person to person because everybody's pain threshold is different. It varies depending on which body part you go for. If you think about your arm, am I saying all the way out? Whoa. Oh, I was. Okay. Think about your arm, like this outside bit of your arm, it's like exposed to elements, it's exposed to people brushing against it, you lie on it, whatever. Whereas this bit under here, even if you touch the skin, you can feel a difference. This bit under here is not used to getting exposed to things. If you tattoo on that, it's going to be more painful than there. If you're going on your stomach, closer you get down to your crotch region, the more painful it's going to get as well, and various other things like that. For tattooing on the bone, I'll show you my next tattoos, then it'll make more sense. The next ones I got, excuse the messy room, which you're about to see bits of, are on my ankles. So as you can see, I've got little wings, and they're on the inside and outside of my ankles, and as you can see, they just about touch my ankle bone here. So some people say that it's really sore getting tattooed on bones. I didn't find that it was particularly sore. I just thought it was kind of gross, because you can feel like the vibrations from the tattoo machine in your bone, and I don't know, I just don't like feeling my bones vibrating. It's not pleasant. For those of you who don't know about tattoo machines, they've you know, they've got a wee handheld bit and there's a needle and it's got a loop at the back attached to another little bit that can like spins around and round to move it in and out really fast, or whatever speed they want it at, because they also have like a pedal on the ground, kind of like a sewing machine, that affects the speed that it moves at. And shading needles, instead of having like one bit at the end, it's got like 4 really close together, kind of like a fork. So yeah, you might have noticed all my tattoos are in black. It's personal preference. I'm not the biggest fan of coloured tattoos. I don't think they'd suit me, which is very strange. Also, I think they look worse than black ones when they do fade. And for those of you that are thinking about tattoo removal, black's actually the easiest colour to remove because it's the most pigment rich, so it's easier. It's like, if you ever heard about laser hair removal, it works well on dark hairs better. Well, laser tattoo removal works on dark inks better. Red is the worst one to remove, apparently. I don't plan on getting mine removed, but you know, I could change my mind in the future, and I reserve my right to do that. If I get mine removed when I grow up, I get mine removed when I grow up. So the next thing I want is actually a piece of poetry down my left hand side, my rib cage, which is apparently going to be painful, but we'll wait and see. So that's that. If anyone's got any questions, I will try to answer them. I'm not an expert, but I can probably try and find out for you anyway. So yeah, I'm really sorry about how long this was, but I had quite a lot to talk through. So bye bye.